pleasant good afternoon and welcome to News Live on Voice of Liberia from the nation capital, Monrovia. This news is also live on Voice of Liberia 89.7 in Kakatamangibi County and 90.7 in Bangabon County. It is also live via our online radio at www.voiceofliberiaradio.com. On our first development, Mosrado County, Massachusetts has proposed the approval of $3 million by the national government to procure 17 fire trucks for the 17 electoral districts and swiftly address the growing wave of fire disasters in the country. Senator Joseph was the first top government official whose home was caught by fire and recently fire that followed by the home of House Speaker Councillor Fonati Kofa, which left several properties damaged but no casualty reported. Addressing legislative reporter Tuesday minutes after his communication was submitted to the plenary of the Liberia Senate, the lawmaker said the $3 million, if approved, will be used to train firefighters, major accessories, and ensure the effective use of those fire trucks in the county. He termed the repeated occurrence of fire disasters in Liberia, especially Mosrado County, as a national emergency. As such, there is a need for the Liberian government through the 55th National Legislature to treat his proposal with urgency. Joseph, who chairs the Senate Committee on Transport, indicated the amount will be used to augment the strength of the Liberia Fire Service in fighting fire disasters within Mosrado County. He said, considering the many fire incidents across the country, the government must take the necessary decisions to address the matter of interest of the affected communities and institute measures for future happenings. Senator Joseph further believes if electoral district of his county has a fire truck, the time interval to rescue affected homes during any fire incident will be immediate.
By the grace of God, I brought me this far. I did a communication today on the floor of the Senate, asking colleagues to join me in the process of making appropriation in the tune of $3 million United States dollars in making sure to empower the Liberia National Fire Service by building the capacity, providing 17 fire trucks in the 17 electoral districts in Mosrado County. And those 17 fire trucks will be able to respond adequately. They will be able to respond, the timely response of those fire trucks will be able to save lives and property. People may think that that money is too much. As I stated also today, God forbid, if anything was going to happen to me, maybe they were going to spend more than $1 million for repair and funeral service for Senator Sir Joseph. What have happened to our citizens who have lost their property, those who have lost their life? No incentive from national government or nothing have happened. So what needs to happen now is national government should take some decision. And what are those decisions? First of all, classify the situation in Mosrado County as a national emergency because the fire situations have been repeated on a daily basis. By providing that amount, you will procure 17 trucks for the 17 electoral districts. You will be able to build fire stations in those various districts. You will be able to train workers to be able to respond. Now, when a fire situation takes place and you call the fire service, approximately they will take 20 to 15 minutes. But you that is making the call or you that is in the house, You want the fire service to be there in a minute time. But don't forget the time you take to dial the number, the phone rings, they answer, you give the description and the location, you already go maybe 2, 3, 4 million. At the end of the day, I mean, either all of the property in the house and lives have been destroyed. But when you have 17 fire trucks in the 17 electoral district, when there's a fire situation in District 6, immediately District 6 fire truck will respond. While District 6 fire truck is responding in District 6, you will notice District 4, District 8, District 5, those adjacent districts will be on time to come and help. Before the rest of the other districts arrive, you will notice that in a 20-minute period, the entire 17 districts fire service trucks are already in line, ready to fight that fire. So the time one truck will come, cut off the fire, while cutting off the fire.
The Honorable Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia will on today hand down advance opinions and render judgments in the following petitions for a writ of prohibition cases. Honorable Harrison D. Yelu versus the Government of Liberia, Honorable Reginald K. Nambi versus the Government of Liberia, Andrew Peters, the Government of Liberia, Edwina C. Jackpot versus the Government of Liberia, and Professor Wilson K. Tapwe versus the Government of Liberia by order of the Chief Justice, Her Honor Sianen A. Yo. The Executive Director of the Integrity Watch Liberia, Harold Adult, has termed it as a monumental feat for the first time for CSOs to not be just mere observers, but to have fully participated in the joint budget hearings at the National Legislature. The Joint Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget of the House of Representatives and the Liberia Senate has been conducting budget hearings with government spending entities ahead of the passage of the draft national budget for fiscal year 2024. Speaking with legislative reporters on the grounds of the Capitol building Tuesday, moreover, Mr. Ado said during the hearing, civil society organizations, including Integrity Watch Liberia, had the opportunity to raise key concerns for the responses of these different spending institutions. According to him, this initiative will strengthen the engagement and the oversight of the legislators, adding that it will also help those CSOs to follow up and ensure that the actual amount allotted for each spending entity is properly expended transparently. Our legislative reporter said during the budget hearing conducted by the Joint Committee, civil society actors were given the opportunity to exclusively question heads and representations of government ministries, agencies, and commissions, and answers were provided by those public officials. Mr. Ado stressed the need for CSOs to not only form part of the budget hearings, but also fully participate in the revenue of the budget process by those institutions.
For a very long time, the need to have civil society participating not just in the expenditure of the budget hearing, but then also in the revenue of the budget hearing. If you look at the current budget, the fiscal space is quite small, and we believe that by having civil society organizations to participate in the budget process, one will bring the perspectives and the issues at the communities to inform these budget discussions. Just last week, we did a very big hearing with the bipartisan caucus where we showed in terms of the gaps where some of the revenues are, particularly when it comes to sand mining and also some of the tax incentives that we're issuing. Now, we have been able to work with the Joint Budget Committee to make sure that civil society organizations participate, not just participate, but also are able to send questions to all the spending entities that are here to defend their budget. And we think that that has been a monumental feat for the first time for CSOs, not just to be as mere observers, but then also to be able to raise questions and raise issues where these different spending entities can respond to. In our opinion, we are happy that we can facilitate these kinds of engagement between civil society, citizens, and their legislators, because the budget needs to have a mechanism where the citizens can participate in the budget process. And we think that this is an important first step to have civil society organizations participate in the budget process. That will strengthen the engagement. It will also strengthen oversight, not just from the part of the legislature, but civil society groups who are also working at the communities will be able to follow, because they know how much is being allotted to different ministries and agencies. For example, I've been participating in some of the hearings. I've seen the youth and sport defending their budget. Right, I was there when a number of agencies were defending their budget, the internal affairs and other ministries. So it creates the environment where CSOs now can begin to look at the budget and say, these are the issues that were discussed in plenary during the hearing. And they can go back to the community and follow up and making sure that ultimately the beneficiaries of the budget, who are the Liberian people, benefit from the Liberian people.
At the same time, we are commending the 55th National Legislature for encouraging a participatory budget process. With the CSOs, Mr. Ado disclosed that his institution is expected to submit a budget optioned paper before or during the 2025 draft national budget process. He said the paper will clearly articulate key areas where the national government can prioritize, noting that the initiative will also be in line with the government's own development plan.
Well, I think we would like to commend the legislature, because for the first time they have embraced what we call participatory budgetary process, by allowing civil society to just be there, not just be there as mere observers, but also be able to critique and question ministries and agencies and ask questions. It's the first time this is happening, but I think there's a lot of lessons that we've drawn and we think we can improve on it going forward. But I think this is the beginning of having a formal national mechanism for having citizens to participate in decision-making processes, which we applaud the legislature for. Well, what we really want to, we expect is that just beyond us coming to the hearings and participating in the hearings, we're hoping to submit what we call a budget option paper. A budget option paper that will clearly articulate key areas where we think government needs to prioritize. That will also be in line or in tandem with government-owned development priority. So certainly for the 2025 budget, we will be submitting to the Ministry of Finance a shadow budget option paper that draws what we believe are citizens' priorities in terms of areas that need consideration. And we'll be submitting that in addition to participating, hopefully, in the revenue hearing and also in the expenditure hearing of the budget process.
Be reminded that you are listening to News Live on Voice of Liberia from the nation capital, Monrovia. This news is also live on Voice of Liberia at 89.7 in Kakatama, Gibi County, and 90.7 in Bangabong County. Still in the news, fresh dispute has re-emerged between Guinea and Sierra Leone over a place called Yanga. The presence of Guinean troops in the area claimed by Sierra Leone is causing unease among residents and prompting calls for a resolution at the International Court of Justice. Recent developments have sent Guinean authorities to reconstruction work amidst past engagements. How serious is this issue and what is so special about Yangad? Our Sierra Leone's correspondent, John Whitfield Jones, us to tell us more about this development. The Institute of Energy Security has called for the immediate removal of Energy Minister Mr. Matthew Okoki, citing the Western energy crisis as grounds for his removal. According to the RES, the current state of the energy sector necessitates swift intervention, prompting their advocacy for the minister's dismissal. Here is Jonas Biarobi with the details.
In Ghana, as we speak currently, is actually not something good to talk about at all, most especially in the nation's capital, where we have a lot of factories and companies operating here that need light for their operations. As we speak right now, it's possible that people sleep in darkness for like 12 hours in a day. Many people do stay in darkness, but then there have been so many concerns that have been raised by the Electricity Company of Ghana, and the explanations have been given. However, their explanations, upon being sent those information to the public, stakeholders in the same industry have come out to say that no, those excuses that the Electricity Company of Ghana have come to give are not really genuine, because we're told that the transformers were overloaded and they need to offload some by installing new transformers. But people in the industry says that no, it was a financial situation that they were not able to raise funds to be able to generate enough electricity to actually distribute to people who need it. So as we speak now, it's actually like on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. And most especially, like I said, in the nation's capital and most of the major cities in Ghana. Well, so the only response that came was the excuse given by the Electricity Company of Ghana. Mind you, that excuse was refuted by the industry players. People in the energy sector have actually said that that reason they gave was not actually the problem. And so they actually want them to take full responsibility and just accept that, yes, we have a power crisis, and so we are working towards it. So right now, what Ghanaians want is that they should release a timetable to tell us that, well, from 6 p.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. in the evening at this particular location, this particular area, there will not be light, so that people living in that area will have to plan for themselves, most especially the businesses, the companies, and the factories, because they depend largely on electricity for their operation.
Let's take this development again. Fresh dispute has re-emerged between Guinea and Sierra Leone over a place called Yangad. The presence of Guinean troops in the area claimed by Sierra Leone is causing unease among residents and prompting calls for a resolution at the International Court of Justice. Recent developments have seen Guinean authorities doing construction work amidst past engagements. How serious is this issue, and what is so special about Yangad? Our Sierra Leone's correspondent, John Whitfield, joins us to tell more about this development.
There is this dispute for a particular place called Yenga. And Yenga is a village in the Kisiteng Chiefdom, Kailaun district, which is in the eastern province of Sierra Leone. And this place has been largely inhabited by the Kizi people, and the Kizi people mostly are from Sierra Leone. So the dispute is about ownership. Who originally owns Yenga? Is Yenga being owned by the people of Sierra Leone, or is Yenga being owned by the people of Guinea? And this is also an international border site where both Guineans use as well as Sierra Leoneans. It has been a long-age dispute, and a fresh one has re-emerged. This is where the dispute is settled. But if you go to Yenga, you find out that majority of the settlement are the Kizi people who are from Sierra Leone. If you recall, immediately after the war ended in 2002, there are lots and lots of relocations that took place. And this area, since then to now, has been occupied by the Kizi people. But because the Guineans as well know that this is an international route, and they know that both Sierra Leoneans and Guineans use them, there have been a large dispute, and up till now, they are still battling for the originality. The government of Sierra Leone in 2012, under the then President Dr. Nesbai Koroma, signed a joint communique between Sierra Leone and Guinea, and the communique was for them to demilitarize, because one of the scary things about that place, Seko, is that the Guineans are in full force in terms of their military presence. Likewise, Sierra Leoneans, but more so of the Guineans. So this causes panic, especially for the Sierra Leoneans who reside there, being the Kizi people. And then because of this dispute, they have had disagreement. But despite this agreement, there was indeed a demilitarization. Couple of months later, they also saw the presence, heavy presence of the Guinean military in that particular place, causing the Kizi people especially to be afraid because they cannot go about their normal business. When they go about their normal business, in some particular days and areas, they have been threatened by the presence of the Guinean military, and this again has caused panic.
The Liberia National Police has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Liberia, thus restricting the movement of motorcycle and tricycle in some parts of Monrovia beginning April. That's May 15 of this year. The MOU is geared towards enhancing public safety and ensuring the safety of motorists, and also in accordance with the LMP safety campaign. Speaking at the grounds of the LMP headquarters in Monrovia on Tuesday, the Deputy Inspector General for Operations, Nelson Freeman, disclosed that the MOU was agreed upon by the two institutions on April 2, 2024. In a joint MOU which it highlighted that motorcyclists are prohibited from plying the Freeport to Central Monrovia and all parts of town, as well as the ELWA junction throughout the Totman Boulevard and the rest of Monrovia, a restricted area. In the same vein, tricyclists will be allowed to move from Freeport towards town through the Claratown and Fartown corridors. The agreement also entails provision for color coding, training, and the mandatory use of helmets, jackets, boots, as well as public safety awareness initiative.
Today marks the symbolic signing of a memorandum of understanding that was made and entered into on the 2nd of May or 2nd of April by and through the Liberia National Police, we being the first party, and the merger Federation of Union of Liberia, M-Fontu for short. This memorandum of understanding, like Carlos said, is basically geared towards enhancing public safety and ensuring the safety of motorists. As you may be aware, over the last 1.5 months, the Liberia National Police has embarked on what we call a safety campaign. We're trying to ensure that we have a safety culture within the left and breadth of Liberia. Today is the motorcyclist, and I'm sure the next time we're here, we're going to actually see us probably with the truck drivers union and other stakeholders that are affected by our work. We intend to create a condition wherein the driver on the road will know when it is that he needs to put on his signal lights when he's bending. We also intend to ensure that the school-going kid will know when to cross the streets. They will know when to get on these, they will know when what the green light, the red and orange lights are for. And even ourselves, as adults, some of us are not very much aware of what the rules of the road are. So with this, Motorcycle said this is the emphasis today. We've tried to get up the name of no-go zone. We tried to call it now the restricted areas. So we've jointly agreed to make the road from Freeport to Central Monrovia and all part of town a restricted area for motorcycles. We also jointly agreed to consider from ELWA junction throughout the Totman Boulevard and the rest of Monrovia a restricted area for motorcyclists. In the same vein, we thought what we refer to as the keke or three-wheelers, we have a little bit of privilege, that is to say, they will be allowed to move from Freeport towards town through the Claratown and Fartown corridors. Only that they will not be allowed to use the new bridge. Rather, they will go through what we call the Zulu Duma or the old bridge, go to the water side, and they will have access to all parts of Monrovia except the Broad and Kerry streets. The one from the Chinatown will come up on the bypass here, and they can go as far as Benson Street and go back into town, and they can also cross up and go down the UN Drive.
Meanwhile, the president of the Motorcycle and Tricycle Union, John Keyon, used the occasion to call on lawmakers who are in the habit of influencing motorcyclists to instigate violence or cause chaos in the country to refrain from doing so. He said the safety of the country should not be politicized and taken lightly by people who are in higher positions in the country. Mr. Keyon, however, reassures his institution commitment to making sure in having a safe society for all Liberians.
Anything that has to do with public safety, I'm part of it, because it is our responsibility as leaders to making sure that we keep our society safe. And one loss is one loss to all. Help us in this endeavor. And I also want to call on the lawmakers, those who are involved in inciting our cyclists and putting them in the field. You have a role to play as a lawmaker. I think what you can do is to help proper bills that will enable our guys, when more companies come, they will be able to get job and leave the motorcycle fee. I ran back for 8 years. Do you think to ride a motorbike is very easy? It is not an easy thing. So I know how painful it is. Our prayer is that this government should see reason to open avenues where cyclists can get opportunity. That others to come will be able to come, and all who have been there for long can need transition. This is what we want to see. But to see some of our lawmakers sitting on a motorcycle, leaving their basic function, oversight lawmaking and representation, and then getting on the field to tell motorcyclists, let's give like you a Bwaka or better like you. There's not about Bwaka, it's about the safety of this country. Our partners are coming here. International community is watching how well we're going to maintain sanity in our nation. And I strongly believe everything in this country politicizing.
The Gambia government has on Monday tabled 2 bills expected to pave way for the prosecution of crimes committed during the Yawad Chamand region. The bills are the Special Accountability Mechanism built and the Special Prosecutors Build Office. That's Office Bill. The 2 bills, according to the Justice Minister, are intended to provide frameworks and guiding principles for the investigation and prosecution of persons responsible for serious human rights violations, including former President Yahya Jammeh, as recommended by the Truth Commission, TCCC. Our correspondent from the Gambia, Amadou Kanted, joins us with more details.
Well, it's very crucial to have these 2 bills being introduced at the National Assembly to give the parliamentarians the opportunity to discuss these important bills. It's of course important, especially to the victims who have waited for a long while now, relatively since the TRC recommendations were presented to the president. It's almost 3 years now, and since then they have been waiting, and in some quarters, the Barrow government has been condemned for its lack of commitment to implement the recommendations or to make sure that some of the perpetrators of the Jammeh era regime will face justice. But that has been not happening for many people. But now that these bills were introduced in Parliament, I think it will be a crucial moment for victims and, of course, for some of the people that were also looking forward to something like this. They haven't made any public reaction as of now, but one thing that is clear is that they would be keenly following as to what would happen in the next coming days or weeks or so, because they have been so much concerned. Not long ago, they were at State House to meet the president, who assured them of his government commitment to make sure that justice would be done as he has promised from the beginning. Because when these recommendations were presented to him, almost over 90% of the recommendations were accepted by his government.
This is how we come to the end of News Live on Voice of Liberia from the nation capital, Monrovia. This news was live on Voice of Liberia 89.7 in Kakatamangibi County and 90.7 in Bangalore County. It was also live via our online radio at www.voiceofliberiaradio.com. I am Afila Kamara. Thanks for listening and watching. Good afternoon.